Have you ever looked at the palm of your hand and noticed a line that looked like the letter M, or a soft curve, as if a small crescent moon had been drawn into your skin? Maybe you thought it was just a skin fold, a random coincidence. But what if I told you that this seemingly insignificant detail carries a deep calling from your soul? What if these marks are actually spiritual codes, signs engraved by God, indicating that you were chosen for something greater? If you've made it here, know this: it's not a coincidence. You are being pulled by something higher, because 2025 will not be just another year. It will be the year of full awakening for those who carry these sacred marks. Those who bear the letter M, or the crescent moon in their hands, are about to undergo a spiritual transformation so profound that they will never be able to return to who they once were. But before you assume this is just another theory, I ask you, listen closely, because within everything you're about to hear, there is a truth that only your soul will be able to recognize. Maybe you're tired, questioning your existence, feeling misunderstood, going through cycles of loss, solitude, and spiritual confusion, feeling out of place in this world. And that is exactly why this message has found its way to you. It has come to explain what is happening inside you and why. It came to remind you that you're not going crazy. You're awakening. The time of silence is over. Now, it's time to remember who you are and to understand what the year 2025 holds for the true chosen ones. And if you feel that this message deeply touched your spirit, write the number 11 in the comments. That number represents the portal of consciousness, the beginning of a new cycle. Subscribe to the channel if you feel you're part of this calling, because from this moment on, each message will be a guide, a mirror, and a reminder of your true mission. The journey begins now. In ancient times, long before the era of technology and constant noise, civilizations looked to the skies in search of answers. They knew that the most important signs weren't found in human words, but in the silent language of the universe. And when the signs didn't come through stars or winds, they would appear in the most intimate part of the human being, the body itself. According to spiritual traditions of the East, especially Buddhism and certain esoteric branches of Asian mysticism, the physical body is a direct reflection of the soul. It doesn't lie. And when something needs to be revealed, it manifests through symbols, marks, signs, and lines that are not there by accident. The crescent moon, that soft curve, often barely noticeable, that appears on the palm of the handies, one of those mysterious manifestations. Some see it as a simple fold in the skin. Others completely ignore its presence. But those who are awakened feel there is something different there, a calling, a code. For monks and spiritual masters, this mark represents an energetic seal, a reminder that the soul inhabiting that body carries a mission beyond ordinary understanding. The moon, in its waxing phase, symbolizes spiritual growth, the revelation of hidden truths, and the expansion of consciousness. It is the moment when the soul leaves the shadows of doubt and walks toward the light of clarity. And it doesn't stop there. The crescent moon mark is almost always accompanied by another symbol, the letter M. Whether clearly visible or hidden among the lines of the palm, this letter holds one of the deepest meanings on the spiritual path. M for mission, M for messenger, M for memory. It is the engraved reminder that there is something inside you that must be awakened. These marks are not random. They appear on people who are closing a cycle of repetitive suffering. Often, this cycle comes with unexplainable pain, successive losses, and unjust exclusions. It's as if life is trying to wake them up, and when everything else fails, the universe marks the body as a final attempt to communicate. What's most surprising is that these marks appear just before a major turning point, and according to the Masters, 2025 will be that point, a time when everything that was once invisible begins to take form. Missions will be activated, pain will finally make sense, and the inner light of the Chosen Ones will begin to shine uncontrollably. So if you carry the mark of the crescent moon or the letter M in your hands, pay attention. Something within you has been preparing for years for an awakening that is now approaching. This mark is like a spiritual seal, being broken, unlocking gifts, memories, answers, and paths that were once sealed shut. And when the soul is ready, the entire world reorganizes itself to welcome your light. You may not yet have the words to describe what's happening within you, but you feel it. You feel that something has shifted. Life may look the same on the outside, but on the inside, everything carries a new weight, a new meaning. It's as if the world has lost the clarity it once offered, and now you're being asked to see with the eyes of the soul. This is the true beginning of spiritual awakening, and 2025 will be, for many, the year when this process can no longer be ignored. Everything that once felt bearable will begin to irritate. Relationships once maintained out of habit will become unbearable. Shallow conversations will drain you. Places that used to fulfill you will now suffocate you. It's not rejection, it's evolution. It's your soul rising after years of being silenced. For those who carry the crescent moon or the letter M in their hands, this awakening will not be subtle. It will be a turning point. Because these marks are not mere coincidences or physical quirks, they are spiritual records of a deep calling. They signify a soul that has lived through many cycles and is now ready to remember who it truly is. The awakening beginning in 2025 will not come in the form of easy answers. It will manifest as restlessness, a desire for isolation, silence, reconnection. And as uncomfortable as that may seem, it is the first sign that the soul has begun to guide your steps. The mind loses control, but the heart begins to see. In this process, your intuition sharpens, dreams come alive, signs appear in the smallest details, and the universe begins to respond with more precision. The veil that once separated the visible from the invisible begins to dissolve, and little by little, what once seemed like illusion becomes undeniable truth. This isn't about abandoning everything or running away from the world. It's about an internal repositioning that completely changes the way you live. Spiritual awakening doesn't require you to detach from reality. It invites you to see reality through new eyes, as if suddenly everything is being revealed from the inside out. There comes a point on the spiritual journey when the weight of the past begins to reveal itself. Even without fully understanding where it comes from, you feel that you've been carrying burdens that no longer belong to you. These are pains that keep repeating, patterns that persist in returning, relationships that seem to go in circles, always leading back to the same place. As if something invisible were pulling you into a scenario you've already outgrown. But 2025 arrives with a different energy, a force that pushes you forward. And those who bear the marks of the crescent moon or the letter M on their hands will feel this with even more intensity. These marks are like spiritual seals, indicating that your soul is already prepared to break once and for all from cycles that have been repeating for a very long time. And when that rupture begins, everything starts to move. Old wounds resurface. Forgotten emotions return like waves. People from the past may reappear or disappear suddenly. It's as if the universe is showing you, with clarity, everything that needs to be released before you can move into the next level of your mission. And yes, this can hurt. The ego, so used to protecting itself, resists. The mind tries to understand, to rationalize, to find blame or logical explanations. But this isn't a logical process. It's energetic. It's the soul cleansing itself from old contracts, memories from past lives, bindings you didn't even know existed. The breaking of karmic cycles isn't a punishment, it's a gift. It's the chance to free yourself from what no longer serves you, from what kept you trapped in unconscious repetitions, from everything that prevented you from living with authenticity and lightness. And it is at this point that many people feel a kind of unexplained sadness, a sense of mourning, even when nothing external seems to justify it. This happens because, energetically, you are saying goodbye to old versions of yourself. You're closing chapters that have remained open for far too long. And this farewell may be silent, but it's deep. It's like releasing something that was deeply rooted. And once you let it go, space opens up for something new to blossom. This liberation is powerful. After the pain comes the lightness. After the confusion, clarity arrives. It's as if your inner sky opens up, allowing a new light to shine through and reveal paths that were once invisible. The most important thing here is not to understand everything, it's to feel. It's to notice what is asking to be closed, and to have the courage to say, enough. Because when you honor this rupture, when you accept that certain cycles have come to an end, you activate within yourself the key to spiritual freedom. And this will be one of the greatest gifts of 2025 for the chosen ones who carry these marks on their hands. The ability to finally walk without the invisible chains of the past. The beginning of a new life, much lighter, more conscious, and profoundly aligned with your true purpose. When the soul undergoes a deep awakening, something begins to move from the inside out, and it is at this point in the journey that ancient gifts, once dormant, start to emerge in subtle yet powerful ways. Those who bear the mark of the crescent moon or the letter M on their hands will feel this inner calling intensify in 2025 like never before. It's not something forced, nor something you need to search for externally. It's as if a memory begins to return from within, as if a forgotten part of your essence is finally ready to be revealed. These gifts don't appear in spectacular or theatrical ways. They come through sensations, through intuitions that become more precise, through dreams that seem to carry hidden messages, through encounters with people who activate something in you that you didn't even know existed. You may begin to notice that you can read energies, that you feel what others don't say, that you have ease with words, with healing, with art, with deep listening. The form doesn't matter. What matters is recognizing that what is awakening now is not new. It's something that has always been there, just waiting for the right moment to bloom. For a long time, many of these gifts were stifled. Maybe you grew up hearing that you were too sensitive, that you needed to be more grounded, that what you felt was exaggeration, fantasy, illusion. But now, that judgment no longer has power. The time of denial has passed. The moment has arrived to recognize that what the world tried to silence was, in fact, your greatest treasure. Your gift is your tool, and 2025 is the year when you will begin to use it consciously in service of good, of healing, of elevation. This awakening may feel strange at first, because when the soul expands, old roles no longer fit. You may feel out of place in environments that once felt natural. You may realize that you no longer fit into superficial conversations or automatic tasks. A desire may arise to seek spiritual knowledge, to learn alternative healing practices, to dive into traditions that once went unnoticed. All of this is part of the process. Your spirit is inviting you to remember what you came here to do, and the gifts that are emerging are clear clues about your purpose. It's not about becoming someone different. It's about finally becoming who you've always been. What once seemed strange starts to make sense. What was once doubt becomes direction. And even if no one else understands, even if it feels lonely, something within you recognizes this is the way. And that recognition is all you need. Because when the gifts awaken, they don't come alone. They bring with them the certainty that your existence has a unique purpose, that there is something only you can offer the world. And this is one of the greatest blessings the chosen ones will experience in 2025, discovering that what made them different was exactly what made them special. After the spiritual awakening and the activation of gifts that had been dormant, something begins to reorganize within those who carry the mark of the crescent moon or the letter M on their hands. And this reorganization doesn't happen only in feelings or perceptions, it directly affects the very meaning of existence. The soul, now more awakened, starts to question, why am I here? What is the real purpose of my journey? It is common during this phase for things that once made sense to completely lose their shine. Old goals seem empty. Routines that were once tolerable become unbearable. People who once walked alongside you no longer share the same frequency. And in the midst of all this, a seed begins to sprout. The desire to start over, to do something that truly touches the soul. Something that connects you to your spiritual mission and to the higher calling you have carried since before you were born. But this redefinition is not an impulsive rupture. It's a process, often a silent one. It begins as an internal discomfort that grows over time, a void that no external achievement can fill. Until, little by little, the soul starts pointing toward new paths. You might feel a desire to change careers, cities, or your entire lifestyle. You might feel the urge to simplify, to slow down, to serve more. What was once motivated by status now must carry truth. What once was only for survival now must have soul. Some resist. They try to continue living in the old world even though their hearts are already calling for the new. But in 2025, this resistance will likely become unsustainable. Those chosen ones with the marks of the crescent moon and the letter M will feel even more intensely the need to align their life purpose with their spiritual mission. Because in this new cycle that is beginning, living outside of one's purpose becomes, quite literally, heavy, and living in alignment, despite the challenges, brings an incomparable lightness. This transition may seem confusing. It may come with losses, unexpected new beginnings, difficult decisions, but all of it is part of a divine redesign. The universe is not taking anything from you, it is making room for what is rightfully yours, for what aligns with your essence, your gifts, and your mission. And in this process of redefinition, many discover that their true purpose does not lie in titles, job positions, or results. It lies in how they place themselves in the world. It lies in the presence they carry, in the love they offer, in the light they radiate, even in silence. Because when the soul assumes its rightful place, everything around it begins to reorganize, and what once seemed impossible starts to flow. Redefining the purpose of life is not a luxury, it is an urgency of the soul. And 2025 will be the year when many of the chosen ones finally understand that their calling is greater than any plan crafted by the mind. It will be the year when life will no longer be just a sequence of tasks, but will begin to be a journey of meaning, mission, and profound awakening. After so many layers have been peeled away, so many pains faced, and cycles brought to a close, a sacred and inevitable moment arrives. The reunion with your own truth. And this is not a truth learned from books, nor one shaped by external expectations. It is that silent, profound truth that has always lived within you, simply waiting for the right time to rise to the surface. For the chosen ones who carry the crescent moon or the letter M on their hands, this reunion is inevitable because that is what sets them apart. Their soul longs for authenticity. At this stage of the journey, the external world begins to lose its hold. The need to please, to meet projected images and expectations, starts to dissolve. because something inside you begins to speak louder than everything else, the call for integrity. And integrity is not about perfection, it is about coherence. It is when thought, feeling, word, and action begin to walk in the same direction. It is when what you live in secret no longer conflicts with what you show to the world. This reunion with truth is not always easy. Sometimes it hurts, because it takes courage to admit what needs to be left behind, and even more courage to embrace who you truly are. It may mean stepping out of your comfort zone, breaking old characters, letting go of roles you've played for so long that you almost believed they were real. But when this moment arrives, it brings with it a kind of peace that nothing external can offer. It is at this point that spiritual gifts begin to stabilize not as extraordinary tools, but as natural expressions of the soul. Intuition sharpens, perception expands, choices become more conscious. You begin to hear your essence more clearly, and to distinguish the voice of your soul from the noise of your ego. And then you understand that this inner truth isn't new information, it's a reminder of what you've always known but had forgotten along the way. Many of those who carry these spiritual marks on their hands will reach this point in 2025. And when they do, they know. Because the body responds, the soul exhales, the mind quiets, and life, even without changing on the outside, begins to make sense on the inside. This reunion doesn't require degrees, recognition, or external validation. It requires only a sincere willingness to look within and to accept what is found. The reunion with truth is, in essence, a return home, a return to your essence, a return to who you were before the world told you who you should be, and it is this return that changes everything. Because those who live from their truth no longer need to convince anyone of anything, their presence speaks for itself. Their vibration opens doors, and their light, even in silence, becomes a guide for other souls lost in the same maze you have walked through. There comes a moment in the spiritual journey when the universe stops sending signs and begins waiting for your response. This moment, though silent to the outside world, carries immense weight within the soul. It feels as if everything you've lived up until now has simply been preparation, and now you're standing before the choice that will define the next chapters of your story. And this choice, subtle as it may seem, is an energetic portal to remain where you are or to walk toward the truth of your essence. For the chosen ones who carry the marks of the letter M and the crescent moon, this turning point is even more intense. Because these souls didn't come to this world just to survive, they came to guide, to heal, to ignite light where there was once darkness. And for that reason, the path often demands the courage to leave behind the familiar, the comfortable, the things that no longer vibrate in harmony with your mission. It might be a relationship, an idea, an environment, but it will always be something that must be released so that the new can have room to blossom. This choice isn't about right or wrong, it's about alignment. The universe doesn't impose, it offers. It doesn't force, it invites. And in that invitation, you are called to recognize that your awakened consciousness no longer fits into old patterns. Your heart beats differently, your intuition speaks louder, your body feels, and even if the mind resists, your soul already knows. This is the beginning of a new cycle. And like every new beginning, it demands presence, faith, and truth. You don't need to have all the answers right now, but you do need to be willing to walk with spiritual honesty, even when the path feels uncertain. Because when the soul says yes, the universe responds with direction. When you choose truth, life aligns with who you are becoming. So if this message echoed within you, type the number 11 in the comments. It is the number of intuition, illumination, and the calling of the awakened. And if you're not yet part of our community, click to subscribe now. Here, You will never walk alone again. Here, every step you take will be guided by consciousness, by truth, and by light. And remember, if you've made it this far, it's not by chance. You are being called, being revealed, because the world needs exactly the light that lives inside of you.